What's up, guys? It's Stiff Leg. So today we're gonna be talking about how to get those Boulder shoulders that we've all been wanting. So let's go ahead and talk about a few things here. Whenever I'm talking about Boulder shoulders here, I'm of course referring to our shoulder muscles up in here and all parts of our shoulder. I'm not just talking about the front that everybody sees. All right, we're talking about the front delt, which is right up here, side delt, and our rear delt, which is on the back side. And we're going to talk about how to get all three of those heads fully developed and growing, right? Because otherwise, if we're just doing all front delt work, we're going to be slouching forward. We don't want that, all right? We're going to be fully developed. It's going to prevent injury, keep our shoulders safe, and that's our goal on this, right? It's not just about looking strong, it's about being strong, it's about being healthy. So, with that being said, let's get into it. All right, first, of course, I'm gonna start out with the head that everybody cares about, and that's gonna be our front delt. I really don't have actually a lot to say about this. I know people do have a lot of different exercises for the front delt. Me personally, I'm a big proponent of just focusing on our pressing movements, okay? That means bench press, overhead press, incline press, all those things. Doesn't have to be a barbell, can be machine, doesn't really matter. But I'm personally a big proponent that your pressing movement is going to get the vast majority of our shoulders developed. Particularly if you're someone with longer arms, that's gonna really target your shoulders and your triceps. If you're someone like me, where maybe you might have to do something different for your chest, right? But for me, definitely presses are a huge shoulder movement. And especially depending on what kind of shoulders do. You know, if someone is wanting to do pressing work, I do recommend, incline press, overhead press, or a normal bench press. I personally would not do a decline press. I don't really, I think it takes a lot out of your shoulders. So that is something to consider though. But really, ultimately, it's just finding a pressing movement that you guys are comfortable with and can progress on. That's really our main focus here, okay? But for some of you, you're not going to be really feeling pressing movements in your shoulders. You're not getting a ton of growth, all right? And so what do we do for people like that? We have front raises. And that is going to be simply dumbbells or cables straight out in front of us, and where we can really isolate our front delt. But that is kind of the exception in my experience, other experiences, needing to do the isolation work for your front delt. I'm not saying that no one needs to do it. The vast majority of people, though, I think can get majority, or I shouldn't say majority, all of their front delt volume from just doing pressing movements. But some people might want to, there are workarounds and everything else. You could have a tricep issue, you could have a chest issue. You don't want to load up those muscles. You still want to grow your shoulders. That's when I think a front raise team could come in handy. And by all means, if you enjoy doing front raises, that can be, one of your main staple movements for your shoulders, of course. So ultimately, I'm not going to be a real stickler on, you have to flat barbell bench press. It's really whatever is comfortable for you. But moving on from front delt, we're going to now talk about our side delt. For you guys out here, this is what is going to widen your frame. I shouldn't say guys and girls. This is what is going to widen your frame, make your shoulders look broader, make your entire body look broader, right? And the way we can best hit this is going to be lat raises. Now, our lateral delt does play a role in other movements, other pressing movements, but to a much lesser extent. I think if we want to optimally grow our side delts, a lat raise is an absolute must. I heard something a long time ago, the only must-do exercise in bodybuilding is lat raises. And honestly, that's kind of true. Everything else is really optional. Now, when I say lateral raises, I'm not specifically talking about, with a dumbbell. It could be with a dumbbell, could be cable, could be leaning, could be upright, could be machine. It's really up to you. If your gym, or wherever you're working out at, has one of those machines that comes out in front of you and you're able to do lat raises with it, and that's what's comfortable for you, by all means, go crazy on that. Personally, I do prefer just using the dumbbells. I find it's a little bit more convenient because most of the time I'm working out in different places, not always working out the same place, and there's always dumbbells, not always a machine, not even always a cable. So it's really just dependent on what you have with you, what feels comfortable to your shoulders. But as far as getting, growing our shoulders being a big thing, this was one that I'm really a stickler on, that I think no matter what, you do need to have some lat raise work in there. And I say that this is just going to grow your side delt. It isn't just going to do that. It is going to be a little bit of trap development. It is going to help that rotator cuff be developed, hopefully keep our shoulders a little bit healthier. But definitely for this, I will say you want to focus on, a medium to high rep range. Not really any sets of 5 on lat raises, probably sets of, at least 10, 15. I mean, I'm partial to 20, 25 reps, really getting a pump in our shoulders. Same thing if you're doing front raises, do higher reps, lower weight. Pressing movements, obviously that's different, and so on and so forth. But it's good to keep in mind that, your shoulder muscles, they are smaller muscles. They do recover much faster, and because of that, you might want to really target, go for the pump, I guess is the best way to say it. Really chase that pump to where it kind of, the blood's, full and everything else. But moving on here, we also have, of course, face pulls. So we're going to be talking now about our rear delt, which is all the way back here, and a couple different ways you can grow this, right? I know me personally, I've always been a very back dominant lifter, meaning that my back muscles were always much stronger than my pressing muscles. And usually it's, for most people, the opposite. I was just very partial to growing my back. And because of that, my rear delts got very developed in comparison to my front and side delts. So the best advice I can give on our back delts is back movements. Such as rows, pull-ups, chin-ups, any of those is going to target our rear delts. I would even go as far to say that, deadlifts are going to have a effect on our rear delts by keeping our shoulders in place, resisting that being pulled down. But if we're wanting to specifically isolate and target just our rear delt, we could do something like a face pull with, I definitely say a cable. I've never seen a machine that you would use face pulls for. There might be one out there, but for most gyms, you're just gonna be using a cable, using a rope attachment. The longer the rope, the better, and pulling the cable towards your face. And that is going to really, really fry those rear delts. Also, a lot of gyms do have a pec deck machine, to where you're pulling the weight this way, and that's going to completely isolate our rear delts. Not going to get any biceps or anything else into the movement. It's very stable. I'm going to really be able to progress the weight and the reps. Now, much like our pressing movements and our lat raise movements, here, I shouldn't say pressing movements, sorry. Front raises and lat raises movements, for face pulls, we're going to want to do high reps, a lot of sets, a lot of volume, maybe not that much weight. I know most people starting out face pulls, especially because they're not used to working at their rear delts, they're not going to be doing very much weight at all. Now, obviously, we can build this up and we can get pretty dang strong doing this. I've seen guys max out cable stacks doing face pulls. They have tremendously built rear delts. So whether you're doing face pulls or you're doing reverse pec deck, it's really whatever is most comfortable for you. I find most people do like the reverse pec deck just because of how stable it is. You're sitting down, you're pushing against the pad, so it is pretty comfortable in comparison to an actual standing face pull where you can be off balance, that kind of thing. You can't do seated face pulls as well. It's really personal preference on this. Any kind of movement like that specifically targets the rear delt though is going to be great. And again, any back movement at all that deals with this motion is going to target the rear delt, right? There's no way that we can get super good at chin-ups, super good at pull-ups, or super good at a bent over row, and we not see some rear delt growth, right? Most people though, unfortunately, they do neglect their back. They're all about their chest and front delts and triceps, and because of that, their back tends to lag behind. And this is just my personal statement on face pulls also. I find that also corrects a lot of posture issues by really strengthening these upper back muscles. But that being said, guys, I think this is my longest video that I've ever done. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and yeah, have a great rest of your day.